Users of Reddit, what is the worst thing your teacher has ever said in front of a class? During English class we were watching Tomorrow When the War Began. Those of you who have seen the movie know they start the movie talking about X. The teacher goes, "X is not that great. I have actually not had X." He's a full 30-year-old man and says that to a bunch of 13-14-year-olds. Those were the days. Was your English teacher Coach Steve? He just wants to make thick in your warm. At least half of you will be dead by the time you reach 20 years old to a class of 11-year-olds. I once had a teacher between 4th-6th grade, not sure, say that about quarter of us would die before the end of high school. Statistically speaking, I've been lucky enough to not have any of my friends die, yet. During 1 year of high school in a bio class, the students were fooling around in class not doing their work and the young, had to be in her late 20s, professor yelled, "You all stop jerking off," then turned red as she realized what she had just said. You can only imagine how that went in a room full of 16-17-year-olds lol. Yeah, I had a Spanish teacher who was either extremely inappropriate or extremely oblivious. With him, it is legitimately hard to tell. He may actually not have known. He was talking about how you make flan one day and how you take the ingredients, mix them together, then you beat it along with a hand motion. The boys in class thought this was hilarious, so they would continually ask him how to make flan. So he would tell them. Honestly, he could have just been completely oblivious and was thinking, hey, the students are smiling. Cool, I'm a good teacher. My family had had to deal with his teaching for decades, so we know he never learned a thing about students. Yeah, that would have been amazing to see, probably one of the funniest things that could happen in a classroom. He told our whole English class quite seriously that for his 30th birthday he wanted 2 15-year-old girls to sit on his lap, and he even named them. I don't know what he was telling us for, maybe he thought we would pressure them into doing it or something. What happened then? Did the girls tell their parents or something? New year, new teacher, and his introduction was, "If you are loud I will hit you with the chalk." We all thought it was very funny, but the next day we learned what doom was, because he never missed. Do chalks hurt? They do if you get hit in the eye. Then you grow up to be really good at archery and join the Avengers as Chalky. And if it's a whiteboard they could become Peter Marker. I had a prof that had given us an in-class assignment. He was a IT teacher and we were first year students, so we didn't finish it, and he told us to take it home and finish it, and when we were done to bring to me. Bring it to daddy. He was Greek and didn't know the context, but he was the head of the department, so we all held back our giggles and left. As a Greek, I can confirm that daddy isn't used as a actual term as usually as in English, because the Greek version is just cringe. Babacus. Also, middle-aged Greek men use weird terms all the time in my opinion. This wasn't the only odd thing he said. He was just an eccentric old dude on top of not knowing the lingo. Nice enough guy one-on-one, just weird in a classroom. She read out my name and looks at me and says, "Your parents named you this? Are you willing to say your name?" It's Neelasma. In German you could pronounce is like Nelasma, which would mean nah, let's not. In the northeast of England, Nelasma would be telling your mother you haven't got a girlfriend. Her way, lad, how's that lass of yours? Nelas, ma. We broke up last week. I had an art teacher that got caught drinking. Apparently someone from the previous period told on her. The vice principal came into our class and told her to come with him. We all heard her yell, "They drove me to drink from the hallway." One of the art teachers at my high school openly talked about drinking in class and dared the administration to fire him. I'm not here because I need the money. I'm here because I enjoy it. This is how I keep enjoying it. Sounds like if Hemingway was a teacher. For whom the school bell tolls. Ask not for when the bell tolls. It tolls at 3. Worst thing and also best thing. History class. Kid punches the kid in front of him in the back of the head. Teacher sees us and says, "Now he's gonna punch you in the head and you're all gonna sit there and watch, because there's nothing you can do about it. A punch for a punch leaves the whole world concussed. Seems reasonable, let's get started." The morning after parents' night, boy in the class was talking over the lesson for the 100th time that term, and the teacher says, Johnny, this is exactly what I was saying to your mum last night. The class burst into laughter. The teacher went red at the implication and Johnny didn't talk over the lesson anymore. Sounds like my computing teacher. Bio teacher was talking to us about X, and a girl asked where the pleasure points are. Girl's a bit bouncy, but the teacher didn't hesitate to answer. She said that the female only feels pleasure 2 inches into the PP, then looked at me and said, so, Mo, you're 2 inches in the clear, bud. The difference between my teacher and yours is that mine meant what she was saying. How does it feel to be dead? A student handed in a blank sheet during a test. Teacher took it and said student's sheet is as much a virgin as every girl in this class. We were 13-14. He's done other stuff that made students uncomfortable, but we weren't taken seriously. And that's how one of the most prestigious teachers at my high school was able to get away with fricking his students. He was even married to a former student. But no one believed the girls who stepped forward. But don't worry, guys. He was put on paid leave and was later allowed to resign with his dignity intact and now teaches for a different school district. Yikes. I hate how common that seems to be. That teacher also forbade girls from wearing scarves in his classroom, even during winter when our buildings didn't have the best heating. We suspect it wasn't really innocent either. Eventually our class, same group of people over 2 years, was given a new teacher due to our complaints, but the teacher himself never faced any consequences as far as I know. He was still teaching there when I was in high school. We had a guy that was known throughout the school system to be a freaking creep. Made very perverse jokes, played a trick on girls that involved licking one finger and quickly wiping their cheek with the dry finger next to it, leering at the cheerleaders when they wore their uniforms. He even apparently got handsy with a couple of female students during driver's ed. Of course he was an instructor. His rep was so bad that one of my female friends and I had driver's ed together and she begged me to let her drive herself home first so that she didn't have to be alone with him in the car. Dude thinks he's hilarious and popular and we all knew how freaking scummy he was. My elementary school gym teacher would turn girls upside down if they were wearing a skirt or a dress. I told my teacher about it and nothing happened. I told my parents about it and nothing happened. I called him out one day in front of the entire class for being a creep and I got detention for being disrespectful. I was in 2nd grade. Looked at a mentally handicapped girl and muttered retard just loud enough for a few people at the front to hear. 7th grade math teacher heard some 9th graders saying that he probably never gets any. Proceeded to explain to his 7th class that he fricks his 10 years younger wife a lot and that they are in an open polyamorous relationship. He was also our homeroom teacher. There is a ton of lore behind this teacher and a myriad of other things he's done. And our class actually met his wife on a class trip, that's why we know. It takes a special type of personality to teach grade 7 and 8. All my ed teachers said you've got to be as crazy as they are to teach junior high. He should have just told them that he is in a polynomial relationship with his wife and that would have shut them up. Ah yes, polynomial. I like my polygon relationship. Not in my class, but one of my professors once said you look like you enjoy riding a bicycle without the saddle. It's called Calder Trials bike, old man. All the cool kids ride them. Old guy history teacher told a student in my class to go home and slit his fat wrists. Man, old teachers can be the worst. We had an old German substitute teacher at my high school. Like so old it looked like he could collapse at any given time. He told us about how he used to be a Nazi back in World War II. I guess this is also the time to mention that my school was predominantly white. We had maybe 20 black students total. The sub had asked one of these students to bring him a stapler or something like that, which the students brought him. His response, which got him fired immediately, was something like, "Wow, I didn't expect one of your kind to be helpful. A lot of you people are like monkeys." Pretty sure the only reason that student didn't punch him in the face is because the teacher would have crumbled. Oh my god. At the start of class our teacher just sat in silence for 5 minutes. We waited for him to begin. He then said, "You have just wasted 5 minutes of your life. You will never get that time back." A bit harsh on a class of 9-year-olds. You stayed quiet in class like children are trained to do, and berated for not doing. Like seriously, what was the plan? What was the perfect goal? The children mutiny because class didn't start on time? Leave you marooned on a tiny desert island with nothing but a pistol and a single shot? I hate AOLA holier than thou teachers. Especially with little kids.